In this edition of Southern Newsweek, firefighters worked through the night to contain the Saddle Hill blaze. We take a look at some of the damage sustained. The university's loss is the Polytechnic's gain, and it's resulting in an increase in student numbers. And the city's bird life is one of the main benefactors, as almost $1 million is awarded to local conservation projects. Kia ora, I'm Holly Buchanan. The clean-up is continuing on Saddle Hill after fire recently swept through homes and vegetation. Firefighters have been busy dampening down hotspots and contractors have been repairing damaged power lines. And although the fire's been contained, no one's taking any risks.
Hotspots flaring up 2 days later. This local farmer is keeping an eye on smoke after flames tore through his property on Wednesday, ruining rows of trees and fencing.
I've planted, a lot of trees and lost them, unfortunately, which I did shed a tear or two because it's gutting because when they do start to get a decent size and that sort of thing, and I'd spend a lot of time pruning all these trees as well, and it's just useless.
Wilden was working on his farm when he saw smoke rising up the hill. He went down the road to alert neighbours and saved them in the nick of time, as smoke overcame their property and their car wouldn't start.
I've just felt the heat and thought, boy, this is quite close, and they'd come around a wee bit as well, and I said, then all of a sudden there was flames and everything. I think we've got to get out of here quick, and before we knew it, there was basically flames and smoke.
The fire may be out, but work is continuing on Saddle Hill. Linesmen are restoring power while the fire services keep flare-ups at bay.
Today we're just concentrating on all the hot spots around the houses. We've got 3 crews working away, just containing them, digging them out with diggers and getting water into them.
It's still not known how the fire started. Investigators say it could have been arcing power lines. The cost of the blaze is still being calculated, with the firefighting effort alone upwards of $50,000. Fine weather's forecast this weekend, so authorities will monitor the site until Monday. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
The Dunedin City Council's top planners are coming together to shape the future of local land management. They're forming a hearings panel to consider submissions on the proposed new district plan, and they're looking to outsiders for help.
Walking into another sizable role, City Councillor David Benson Pope is preparing to help steer the way forward for local land management. He's one of several in-house appointments to the newly formed Second Generation Plan hearings panel. Up to 3 outsiders are being sought to join them.
It's sort of hard to know exactly what people are going to submit about, so we're trying to make sure the breadth of background in the panel is as wide as it possibly can be.
The plan's all about making sure the city's developed safely and fairly based on the risk of natural hazards and different types of zoning.
Those people who are applying will have to have appropriate resource management experience, certification and so on, but I just encourage anyone who thinks they might like to be involved and can tick off the boxes about experience and qualifications to put their name in the hat.
The council CEO will consider applications and a report will be written on the candidates. Then the council will vote on who and how many are ultimately tasked with shaping the district plan.
Because of the size of the plan and its importance, there's going to be a lot of submissions, we know that, and we think we need more than just 4 elected members to cope with the workload, if nothing else.
There's no budget for the hearings panel. The cost of appointing members and paying for their time will depend on the number of submissions and how long it takes to go through them. Benson Pope says it's common for independent professionals to be called on in cases like this.
There's already been peer review by outside expert planners on what's in the document. So everything is based on fact, based on logical argument.
The aim is for the best decisions in the long run, although it's not known when the plan will be ready for implementation. Residents wanting to have their say can make a submission to the council before the end of November. Rosie Mannins, 39 Dunedin News.
The loss of the University of Otago's design faculty is a gain for one other tertiary institution. Otago Polytechnic's School of Design is set to expand in the wake of the closure, with plans in place for new programs. And while the number of places to study are decreasing, staff say the future of design in Dunedin is safe.
The future of the city's now sole School of Design looks bright. Staff at Otago Polytechnic are preparing for an anticipated influx of students into several design courses. The expected surge comes after the recent decision to close the design department at the University of Otago.
We've obviously been in contact with the university, and we've been talking about how we can accommodate the needs of their current students, but we're also anticipating that we would see a flow of students into our programs here, potentially as a result of the closure.
The closure of the university's Design Studies program was a blow to students who campaigned for it to be retained. But those at the Polytechnic say the loss can be easily absorbed.
We are already delivering similar content, students can, select to come to the Polytech and cover some of the design thinking content that they were studying at the university.
The Polytechnic is also in talks with Aoraki Polytechnic, with its Dunedin campus set to close. That's expected to open even more doors for the School of Design to expand its offerings. Any changes are anticipated to be easy for current and future students to adjust to.
Well, we've always had students that flow between those three institutions, so in some ways that's not new, but I guess the program at the university has had a slightly different flavour, so we've complemented each other.
Applications to study next year are starting to be lodged, giving Polytechnic staff a clearer gauge on interest. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Local support groups are pushing to raise New Zealand's refugee quota and create a resettlement centre in the city. The Dunedin Refugee Steering Group has made a submission to the government along those lines, and it has received widespread backing.
An ongoing international crisis. Refugees are fleeing foreign lands for a safer home. In Dunedin, community groups are responding by coming together to see how they can get a resettlement centre to be set up in the city.
It started off really as a conversation among people out here in Dunedin South talking about the refugee crisis, and the conversation came around to, look, what can we do about it?
Dunedin has a history of taking refugees, and group members say that's one reason why it's a suitable option for a resettlement centre. The government allows 750 refugees each year, but there's widespread support for the quota to be increased.
The quota for New Zealand is insufficient in response to the huge humanitarian crisis that our world faces. We believe Dunedin and New Zealand can do a lot more.
The group's initiative is being backed by several local organisations, including schools and tertiary providers, as well as high-profile residents. A submission has been sent to Immigration Minister Michael Woodhouse for the government to recognise Dunedin as a viable resettlement option.
What we're wanting to show to the government is that in a place like Dunedin, there's a great deal of goodwill and also a real desire to help, and also we believe the necessary infrastructure to help welcome refugees.
The government's responded, saying only that it's received the submission, but support from the Mayor and City Councillors is keeping the goal of Dunedin becoming a new home for refugees alive. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
Almost $1 million in government funding is being given to local conservation projects. The money will be used by 3 Otago groups for a range of programs, but it's the city's bird life that's set to benefit the most.
Dishing out the dollars. Associate Conservation Minister Nikki Wagner has been in town announcing the latest local recipients of the Community Conservation Partnership Fund. 3 local groups are getting more than $300,000 for specific projects. Another $400,000 is being promised over the next 3 years.
Key about this is that this is often seed funding for other funding, and so in some cases for every dollar we put forward they might get $2 or $3 as well. So we're able to take small projects and grow them into bigger projects.
The Landscape Connections Trust is getting $120,000. That'll be used to help keep predators away from the city's main nature reserve.
It will buffer Orokonui Eco Sanctuary, so hopefully we can reduce that potential of a stoat invading the sanctuary again. but also it allows those threatened bird species to extend beyond the fence into a safer habitat.
More than $100,000 is going towards improving the Sinclair wetlands. The money will be used to extend the working hours of a key staff member.
What our coordinator is doing is restoring and rehabilitating the wetlands back to its natural state by planting and predator control and track maintenance.
Staffing is also crucial for the Otago Peninsula Biodiversity Group, which is expanding its pest control. The group's using its $111,000 to employ an operations manager.
Having somebody on the ground to reinforce and just secure the work that we've been able to take with larger contractors has been invaluable to hold the project where it is at the moment.
This is the second round of grants from the Conservation Fund. About $10 million is left in the bank and will be dished out nationwide over the next 2 years. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, a unique science project hits the road in a bid to get children interested in the subject, and those who are providing support to family members are formally recognised during a week-long campaign. Welcome back. A unique local science project has been launched at Kaikarai Primary School. The mobile laboratory has been a year in the planning and now it's hitting the road to get kids passionate about science. And there's more brewing behind the scenes.
Revealing the future of science education. Kaikarai Primary School pupils have been witnessing the opening of a project 1 year in the making. Lab in a Box is a mobile science laboratory created inside a 20-foot shipping container. It's aimed at getting more Kiwi kids to engage with science from a young age.
If you have positive science experiences with the sort of late primary school and intermediate school kids, that they're more likely to take science subjects at secondary school and go on to have an interest or at least an enthusiasm for science and technology later on in life.
Prior to the build, local children were asked what scientific topics they wanted to learn more about. The result has been the inclusion of several microscopes, a 3D printer and virtual reality equipment. Much of the gear will be brand new to the thousands of children using it.
There are lots of places which don't see scientists coming through and don't have research institutes that they can go and visit. So it's really difficult for some of those rural schools to get enough money together to get a bus to go into a university or to a CRI. But by bringing the science to them, I think we solve that problem.
The project progressed quickly, with government funding only secured in May. It's been a collaborative effort involving several organisations led primarily by the University of Otago and Otago Museum. Those involved say it's been a hard slog completing the lab, but they're expecting it to have a bright future.
So this is the only one so far. We'd hope actually to make a few more and perhaps send them up to the North Island for those poor benighted people up there. But yeah, so that's the plan. But it's been a hell of a lot of work to get this one together. I don't know, how much energy we have left.
Programs inside the lab will also be made available to older children and community groups. It's all to ensure science's popularity blows up. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
The city's medical professionals are dishing out ideas to help improve local healthcare. The Southern District Health Board's just held an innovation forum with staff invited to pitch new programs, and calls for technology upgrades are dominating the conversation.
A creative approach to medicine. Southern Healthcare staff have been trying to impress during a day-long innovation challenge. Their ideas have been heard by a panel of Southern DHB members and external advisors. They are tasked with awarding funds to top projects.
One of the big trends that we've seen this year is staff coming in and wanting to communicate with the patients better. So the ideas of offering videos for the patients to look at rather than just giving them brochures. So there's probably about 5 or 6 projects that we had that were in that theme, which was really interesting.
One entry on the technology bandwagon is from a couple of physiotherapists. They've been pitching a video for women who have recently given birth. And they say it's important that SDHB listens to staff on the front line.
It's good to have the ability to let them know kind of what's going on or what difficulties we have or how we think we could probably deliver services better as well. Because as you say, we are doing it every day and we know the frustrations that we have and how we could be doing that better.
In the past, winning ideas have included a smartphone app as well as placemats with information for the elderly. This year, 10 applications for funding have been heard by the panel. The judges have made a decision behind closed doors, which they'll make public in a few weeks.
Had obviously seen the presentations prior to today, so had a bit of a look through them, and then I guess come up with a bit of a score, and then hopefully the presentations which they have, to be fair, have reiterated a lot of the decisions that we're going to make. But it is hard. There's some, as I said, there's been some good presentations, great ideas.
Winners will share a prize pool of $20,000 to help turn their ideas into reality. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
People who provide constant unpaid support to family members are being formally recognised. The local Carers Society is celebrating its 4th Awareness Week, shedding light on the work done behind the scenes. And the campaign is revealing some associated hardship.
Taking time to care for the caregivers. Carers Society Otago is celebrating its annual Awareness Week. It's aimed at showcasing the work of carers and ensuring they're supported in the often thankless and forgotten role.
These are unpaid family carers who support anyone with a disability, chronic illness or addiction. And it's an unseen group. People are quite isolated, so what we're trying to achieve here is awareness for carers.
It's a low-key celebration with information stalls set up at the Central City Library and Dunedin Hospital. Society members are also handing out information to the public about the role carers play and the support they sometimes need.
Carers often neglect their own health. They seem to be, the emphasis is always on the person with the illness and the disability.
In the most recent census, 1 in 5 New Zealanders identified as being a carer. Society members believe it's crucial their service continues, with so many people caring for relatives nationwide. But the organisation's future is up in the air.
It depends every year of whether we get enough funding, but we are very passionate. I'm a carer myself. My manager and community worker also is a carer herself, so we have a deep understanding and a deep passion of the issues.
There's only one other carer society in New Zealand, but it's hoped that small events like this will encourage more support for carers both locally and around the country. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
And just ahead on Southern Newsweek, cruise ship passengers disembark, with many choosing to spend time in Port Chalmers, and we'll find out how colour is making running more fun. Welcome back. Cruise ship season is in full swing with the arrival of the first vessel. The Golden Princess docked early on Wednesday morning and passengers spent the day exploring Dunedin, but some didn't venture far.
An imposing addition to the local landscape. This massive ocean liner docked in Port Chalmers to kick off the cruise ship season. While many on board chose to make the commute into the city, some decided to stay closer to the shore.
The port is absolutely beautiful. I love it. Yeah, it's very quaint and it obviously has got a lot of history.
I'm looking for local food and perhaps some New Zealand music.
We're going to walk around. We're going to try to support the local economy with our New Zealand dollars.
Local businesses are feeling the heat as Port Chalmers is the first thing passengers see after departing the 2,600 capacity vessel. The town's quiet during colder months, so touring foreigners provide a welcome boost.
It's a very small town, and during the winter, obviously, you know, we rely on people coming from in Dunedin and surrounding areas and things, and obviously, you know, weather sometimes puts people off driving out of town. So, yep, it's really good for us having a few extra people around.
This cruise ship season's expected to generate about $40 million for the local economy. On average, each passenger spends more than $100, and Port Chalmers shop owners are hoping to reap the rewards.
Hopefully, really busy, and hopefully in about a couple of months' time I'll be closed because I'll have no stock left.
Dunedin's expecting about 70 cruise ship visits between now and next April. The number of passengers set to disembark will outdo last season, creating even more business in the city. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
Dozens of local women have been involved in a global push to increase female participation in ice hockey. Dunedin was the first of 28 cities worldwide hosting all-female ice hockey games at the weekend, and players were thrilled to lead the way in several respects.
Starting an international sequence of events. These local players were the first in the world to participate in a global women's ice hockey showcase. Successive games were played in 28 different countries to generate more female participation in the sport.
You find when girls get on ice, they suddenly become very passionate about it. Myself, I was never an ice hockey person at all, and suddenly it's the best sport in the world. So there's something about the game that grabs that passion amongst the girls. Of course, it ticks all the boxes around team sports, camaraderie and all that sort of thing.
This is the first time New Zealand's participated in the global event, and organisers hope it won't be the last. There are just over 180 female ice hockey players nationwide, with 25 based in Dunedin. Those numbers are expected to grow with help from promotional events like this.
We started with probably there was only 10 females playing, and then we grew to 25 females in an all-women's game that we had organised. And this year we just hosted a In the Pink women's breast cancer game, and we managed to get 40 female on the ice with more potential to actually come. So we know that it's growing sport.
Ice hockey is considered a minority sport in New Zealand, meaning facilities are few and far between. But players say despite the shortcomings, there's plenty of positives.
The biggest challenge is financial. The gear costs money, the gear is hard to access, ice time is limited and there's only a certain number of rinks in the country. However, there's always a really supportive hockey environment wherever you go.
The blue team were the victors at the Dunedin Ice Stadium. That result set the tone worldwide with the blue team, the global winner. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
A local teenager has been selected as a leader of the New Zealand Secondary Students Choir. He's preparing for the group's upcoming international tour while finishing his last year at Otago Boys High School. And his goals don't end there.
Warming up his vocal cords. Matariki Pākaua inwards, honing his voice for the National Secondary Students Choir. The 17-year-old's one of two choir leaders, guiding the 60-odd members.
I got word from my music teacher that auditions were in town, so I thought I might give it a go, just to see if see what I was like, and then I got the email about a week later saying that I was selected, and it's been an absolutely incredible experience ever since.
The bass baritone's fundraising to be a part of the choir's international tour in the middle of next year. He needs about $4,500 to travel to Canada.
I'm hoping to continue on into becoming a classical singer full-time if I can, because it's just this choir's really helped me to realise my love for the art, and it's really helping me unlock my potential as well.
The Year 13 students hosting a fundraising concert in a couple of weeks with the 3 other local choir members. He's also juggling school and regular stints away for choir practice, but a break's on the horizon.
The best thing for me to do, because my voice is still maturing, is to take a year off and then go into classical voice the year after. So that's my plan at the moment.
His ultimate goal is to sing for a living. Rosie Mannins, 39, Dunedin News.
And finally, Sport Otago has combined colour with exercise to add a twist to a local running event. The Rainbow Run draws inspiration from a Hindu festival in which revellers are pelted with coloured powder, and the family-friendly event is set to grow.
Putting the fun in Fun Run. These kids are being showered in colour as they run through Logan Park. It's for the latest Rainbow Run organised by Sport Otago.
This is based on the Indian festival of Holi, which is a great cross-cultural celebration. We've taken some aspects of that, the colourful and the celebration part, and made it into something fun for the people of Dunedin.
This is the second year Sport Otago's held the 3-kilometre run in Dunedin. It's changed slightly but is proving popular, with numbers up on last year's turnout. More than 100 people were involved, with many participants enjoying the opportunity to exercise in a novel way.
It was easy. It was really family friendly. We can just run, walk. It's up to us, just having fun. It was awesome.
Runners received fresh coats of bright colours at each interval around the course. The event was aimed at getting kids active as well as encouraging whole families to play outdoors.
This is a family fun event. It's not a race, it was just a fun thing to do. It's all about being active and getting out as a family and getting some exercise and shuffling things around and being active on a really beautiful sunny day.
Sport Otago's expecting the event to grow as more people become interested in the concept. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
And that's all for this edition of Southern Newsweek. Please do visit our website, dunedintv.co.nz, where you can download Southern Newsweek and watch individual clips of 39 Dunedin News or webcast the show. I'm Holly Buchanan. Thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.